So if you have not been paying attention to the stories that I've been giving you, let me go ahead and start from the beginning. I did find out that on Sunday, I found out before Sunday that something had happened to my neighbor. I think it was her back or something like that. Well, anyways, on Sunday when I got home from Boston and I was out in my yard and I was doing some stuff, I had seen my neighbor. I V-lined because I didn't want to see her and talk to her because I am still upset about the 4th of July exchange that she had when she came out and she basically told us we couldn't be in front of her house with the fireworks when just a few hours I was talking to her about doing the fireworks.
Yes.
So I had been upset.
Yes.
So on Sunday, I didn't want to say nothing to her. I told you all this story on Monday. Then on Monday evening, then on Monday, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. Got ready to leave, and I see outside the ambulance going away from there. I said, oh, man, I wonder if she's okay. I told you all that story.
Yes.
I see the neighbors later on. I see their family, and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Is she okay? And they says, yeah, she's fine. She just drove herself to the hospital, and she has Alzheimer's. I said, drove? I said, no. She came and got picked up. They thought she told them that she took a cab to the hospital, which wasn't true. I never knew she had Alzheimer's. Wow. Okay. So I told you guys that story yesterday. Now here is the next part 3 of that. Late last night, around 10 o'clock, there's a knock at my door. What the heck is going on? I go down. I see it is the neighbor. Now, let me tell you all something. She has never come to my house. Never. She comes to my house. I open the door, and she says, I need your help. I need you to, they stole my car. I said, huh? Yes, they stole my car. Call the police. Let's go get my car. And to which I said, well, who stole your car? She says, my daughter stole my car. I said, oh, okay. She's like, well, I said, well, let me call her. No. Don't call her. Call the police. She calls the police standing in front of me, 911. And so I had to get on the phone, and I'm walking her back to her house, and I'm talking to 911. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, their daughter, they have the car, but they didn't steal it. I kind of explained what was going on. Here's my information. This is who I am. I live next door. If you need anything, I said, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we try to call her daughter and get her here. Now, Ajima, the neighbor, she lives by herself. So I get her over there. Ask for her phone, and it's all in Korean, so I don't understand it. And I says, show your daughter. And so she points to the daughter's number, and I call it. I call the daughter, talk to her like, hey, I'm going to need you to come here because your mom is coming outside. So finally, I say, okay, your car is on the way. You just go inside, and you just wait. Okay, you promise? I says, yes, your car is on the way. She goes inside. I go back home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times she comes back to my house, and I had to walk her back every single time because the daughter hasn't come yet. So, Ursula, here is the takeaway. The takeaway is a few things. 1, I've never been in a situation like this before. 2, this neighbor and I have never communicated, and during this time, she was scared. She really thought like she was in danger, and the way she would hug me on the way back to her house, and I would walk her back to the house, and she'd be like, oh, and you promise? She kept saying that, and like, okay, you're going to help me. And so I bring her back in the house. I go back home. I'm in there for a few, and then I come back out. She's knocking on the door again. I come, and I take her back. And the thing is I had to talk to the police again because she kept calling the police. I would say so in between time that I leave her in the house and I go back to my house, she continues to call the police, right? And so I had to talk to them again and say, hey, if you're getting the call from this number, here's what's going on. The daughter is on the way. And after the 6th time, I think the daughter came. But it really touched me because I explained to you all how petty I was in the beginning.
And you were upset with yourself that you were still being petty because you said you didn't even want to look her way when you were out there. Now you're spending a lot more time in your yard, and you were telling yourself, oh my gosh, if something happens because you saw the ambulance there and you're like, I have not been able to resolve this and I still have this pettiness in my heart. And here she is. Okay, corny as it is, I feel like there is something intervening, and I'm just going to say a higher power intervening right now and saying, here is your chance to make good on this situation. And I say that because you could have been someone she found when she's dealing with Alzheimer's. She found you to be someone who was safe. You were someone safe. You were basically in her storm that is her Alzheimer's right now. You were that island in the storm, and you called police. Now, unfortunately, I mean, my question would be, she's not someone who should be continuing to live on her own.
Right.
And so I don't know what is going on with that family dynamic, but what you've described is what so many people are dealing with their elderly parents.
You dealt with it with your...
Yes, and we talked about how people need to age in place at home.
Gracefully,
Well, no, but a lot of times they can't afford to be able to move into a place like an assisted living place or a nursing home, or don't want to, but yet they're not capable of living on their own. So I think it is wonderful that she felt safe with you.
Right.
I hope that the family is able to get it together. I mean, I know that there needs to be an intervention.
Our show this week, we have been talking about our elders. We've been talking about for care as you get older. We've been talking about this.
Yes.
So for this to happen to me last night, and hey, listen, the way she would hug on me walking back over, it was like a real connection between, and again, this is someone I've never had a conversation with, and it really got me to thinking, like, her husband, she's a widow, so her husband has passed on. And
it is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, but it brought me. All I could think about last night as I was going to bed, Ursula, was I don't want my wife. I want my wife to be able to be in a situation where she can live in her home, continue to live in her home and everything like that, because I think the fear, and I've never worked in this field before, I think the fear is she wanted that car. She wants that car because I think she knows, like, once you take that car, I know what's next.
Well, that's what she has of her memory. She remembers, the independence of having a car, and that is one of the biggest struggles that we as adults have with our aging parents, is taking away that independence.
Yeah.
For their safety and the safety of others.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, that's part 3. Had no idea that it would shake down like that, but I am grateful and glad I could be there. I'm glad that she didn't stumble somewhere else, and she was taken care of and brought back home.